racers are never happy.
No.
It's always somebody else's fault or something, right?
Lucas is ruining it, blah, blah,
I can't
blah.
believe they're making so much money off of us. And it's like, oh, man, you wish you could just say, like, dude, no, you don't understand. They're losing $2 million a year.
Oh, my God.
Whoa! Who knew I would make it this far? They hated, they never believe me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball. I know I make it look easy. Yeah. Mayweather with the defense. I don't care what a critic got to say. I got them picking up the pieces.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Lambo and Leroy Show. Man, it feels good because we're starting to roll again. We're starting to get, week by week back into the groove. We were off for a little bit. Sean was super busy. I was super busy. The whole world is really busy. So we're making it happen. Today, we got a really awesome guest. My friend Robert Wilson, man. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having us. I know we've been trying to make this happen for
for a while
seems like
now.
A couple months. And
Just
stoked to be here. And imagine, for you guys.
Dude, we're stoked.
For me to be able to spend
it's
huge for me, right? Yeah.
This is huge for all of us, man. So I'm stoked to make it happen. And man, this is really cool.
Well, you're really busy. I mean, you wear a ton of hats with everything that you do. I mean, I'm sure you probably need a full, like a scroll list to go over all the things that you're responsible to and handle, in a weekly's time. But why don't you maybe kind of give our guests a little bit of a insight of who you are today, and then we'll kind of rewind back in time to where it all started.
Man, yeah, I think we go back quite a few years. That's gonna be fun.
Don't make me take my hat off and show everybody how old I really am.
I gotta hide it with the hats, man.
I think I still got some up there, but it's pretty gray.
It's pretty gray.
So
it looks good though. You're good.
Today, man.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Yes, man. Well, today, two main hats today.
Okay.
Boxo is probably takes the majority of my time. I actually work in-house with them 3 days a week.
Wow.
People don't know that. But yeah, just 3 days a week, and then do quite a bit events for them.
Really?
Yeah.
So you have a marketing position you hold, or?
Yeah. So I think today I hate titles.
I can't stand
everything.
I'm the floor sweeper guy.
Of course.
Just whatever it takes to get stuff done. I think I'm a strategic partnerships.
Perfect.
Okay.
It might even be director.
of
strategic partnerships.
Oh, nice. I like it.
Which means you
I like
direct people on how to be strategic.
But I think I'm only directing myself.
Yeah,
so
really,
what
yeah.
is it, but hey, I guess
It looks good on a business
that.
card.
Yeah.
So Boxo's made a huge jump in the past couple of years, which is incredible. Talk about that a little bit, man.
Yeah, it's been fun. I've been with them for 4 years. They've been in business in the U.S. for 7 years.
Okay.
And it was kind of interesting the way it came about. I was building a car. I was building my Volkswagen Notchback. Yeah. You shot it in the studio
love that
and stuff.
Notch.
And just had our agency, Round 2 Designs, that we did a lot of social media marketing and sales. Yeah. And it's real boutique, small. We only take on a couple clients. Yeah. And so I was building this car, and I had somebody chiming in. The car, it's Outlaw Notch. It had its own page, and I had this guy chime in. And he was super angry with me, man. Like, dude, you robbed my ideas, and you can't believe you're jacking me. I'm like, I have no idea who you are.
Wow.
This is the first Volkswagen I've ever built in my life.
And this just seemed like a cool way to do it.
Yeah, I'm just doing what I do.
Yeah, that's what I do.
I don't know who you are. I don't even actually know anybody in the Volkswagen scene, which kind of made it fun.
Yeah, for sure.
And so for me to bite you, no.
So anyways, you're wrong.
And it was funny because I actually had like 3 people while building that car that the same thing. And,
man.
Volkswagen people are super passionate.
Yeah, they are very passionate.
And kind of once I got past that wall, everybody was super open and helped me out because I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
Yeah. Just go for
I
it.
ever touched one, it was a Type 3, and like people were like, Type 3, what's that? But anyways, so yeah, it ended up being the CEO of Boxo that was doing that, and now kind of fast forward, I'm actually building his notchback for him.
That's awesome.
Which will be the nicest notchback in the whole entire world.
Did he just give you free run it, or is it all his ideas?
It's kind of a mixture. He actually had the car, and that was the thing. He was super pissed at me about this car that I ended up eventually building in 6 months, right? But he had his car for 7 years already.
Oh my gosh!
And so I was like, so you're mad at me? Like,
because I'm actually doing it?
You got 7 years to finish your car, bro.
Yeah.
Like, in 6 months, it's be on the SEMA floor, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's just kind
that's
of the
what
way
you do.
It's just kind of what we do.
That is what you do.
know?
Yeah,
It
that's what
sucks.
Rob's known for that.
Super unhealthy, but anyways, it's just what we do, you know?
It's bad for your mental health.
Every once in a while, you got to like test yourself, and that's what that was.
Of
It was
course.
one of those, you know, every, I don't know.
Just to remind yourself why you don't want to do it anymore.
You know, you know this whole
Just
thing,
keep
and every
going.
once in a while you just stop, and then you think, "Oh man, am I still worthy? Do I still have it?" Of course, dumbass, you have it, you know, but it just comes in your head,
Like,
and then
don't
it's like,
do it.
"Okay, I'm going to do a SEMA build," and maybe like 3 weeks into, it, you're like,
Why did I do this?
"Why did I do this? And why?" But you're already too deep in, and you know, as soon as I tell somebody I'm going to do something, and especially if they help me out with the product, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
You're
if I
doing it.
So
don't
for those
sleep.
that don't know, Boxo USA, it's a tool company,
It's a
right?
tool company, yeah. So, and it's really catered into application-specific kits, right?
Yeah.
So, which really makes it fun because we can kind of focus on who
So
we want to
cool.
market it to.
Yeah.
Probably our number one bestseller is our UTV tool roll,
Yeah.
which really is still just a universal tool roll, but it was really thought out to give guys with UTVs, which the market's huge,
Yeah.
pretty much the majority of what they need in a compact way that looks nice, that's quality, and you know, kind of easy to get in and out.
So like when you're on the
Stuff.
trail, you pretty much have about 99% of everything you might need. So
Right
you just
here.
pull something off, put it back together. I mean, you can't fabricate out of the tool bag.
No,
but
it's always about getting you back to camp.
Yep.
Yes.
You know, or back to your house, right? You know, if it's some super major, then of course, you know, 10 through 19's not going to help you, you know.
Yeah.
Still always want to carry your ratchet straps and
For
duct tape
sure.
and, you know, that kind of stuff.
The other way to
regardless,
fix
too,
it,
but-
yeah. The real way to fix it.
Yeah, and some of those kits, and then the other exciting part is the EVA foam inserts for the toolboxes and even some of our hand carry stuff. Which
Now, would
really,
they have been the first to do that?
they were not the first. There was other companies doing it, and you know, kind of in the moto boxes, which is one of our really
so
good
awesome.
selling items. There was another company called Sonic that had come out with a moto box prior to ours coming out, and they decided to discontinue it. They actually teamed up with Troy Lee at one point and was doing a collab with him. It was pretty rad, right? And so anytime that comes up, like, oh, you guys were the first to do moto box, like, no,
we weren't,
no.
but
I mean, you know, technically ours is probably better. You know, it's a
Yeah,
little bit
for
more
sure.
value.
Yeah.
But by all means, props to those guys because they really are the ones that
came up with it.
But
you guys marketed it the right way.
Yeah,
You guys have
and
teamed
it's-
up with the right people too.
and that's what this is all about, right?
Yeah, it's marketing.
It's just a marketing thing,
Yeah.
right? And really trying to make, you know, first of all, I'm not going to put my name and reputation on anything. I don't care how much you give me, unless it's going to be a quality tool. The company's quality is going to be around, right?
Yeah,
These tools
that's
carry
legit.
a lifetime warranty, you know, and we're pushing that. And if I didn't believe the company is going to be around 3 years, then for sure not going to put my name,
No, for sure.
you know,
Yeah.
on it too.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
So-
the market, everything worked because, I mean, one of the things on my list, I mean, I don't really buy myself anything anymore other than what I need. Just don't have time for it. But one thing I want, and I want to get myself this year, was one of your toolboxes for my garage with all the tools. And it's all organized, mainly just because
It's
when my
so
son
sick.
takes it out, I know it's missing. And
For sure. We're all crazy OCD and just want custom and cool stuff. And
Exactly.
so, when I, so I kind of like met the guy through the DMs, and then when the car debuted at SEMA's, when I met him for the first time, and they actually, Boxa was giving out awards. They were displaying at
that's
at
right.
SEMA,
Yeah.
and they gave out awards, like, and I won an award, and that's when I met, you know, Chad, and really got to go and
So cool,
open some
man.
drawers, right, and touch and feel,
damn,
you
this
know,
is
because
legit.
it's legit. It's again just pull that 10 millimeter out, and it's not back at the end of the day. It's like, dude, nobody's having beers, bro.
Yeah,
Until
where's that 10 millimeter?
right?
Put it back
And
in.
I mean, that shit disappeared, though. It's gone.
It's gone. It's funny at shows all the time. Like, hey, man, 10's still in there. Like, yeah, by the time it gets to your truck, man, there's, you know.
You give an
Just
extra
jump out.
10 with every kit.
Man, we have so many little fun, like gimmicky fun
So awesome.
stuff in 10 millimeter. We have like a little 2 10 mil sockets, break glass in case of emergency. We have this whole rescue kit that's everything 10. every
That's
size,
awesome.
stuff like
All
that.
10 millimeter.
It's all 10 millimeter.
I mean, I
So
bought like
it's-
5 of them, you know, I swear, like maybe a month ago. And I can't find any of them.
Now they're
right
all
now.
gone again.
No.
It's the struggles, man.
So,
Why is
yeah.
it only 10s? Because everything's 10.
There's a lot of applications that
That
are
are 10
10.
millimeter.
Yeah, 10 covers the gamut. And then their toolboxes are rad too. Same thing, kind of bring that customization in. You get to pick the color of the box, the color of the handles.
That's cool.
And so it just gives you the ability. And again, it's great quality at a good price.
Yeah.
So it's a upper mid-tier tool. So it's definitely not Snap-on, and it's not, where Craftsman was. So it's above that. So the normal everyday enthusiasts can afford it.
So for the younger kids and stuff out there who ride moto and stuff, what would be like a good kit and maybe a price for them on Boxer USA?
Well, again, we have a box that's called the Moto Box.
And that's what it's intended for.
And it's built just around that. Has tire spoons and
awesome.
wire tie pliers and spoke wrench, all that kind of stuff. Like if you're going to the track or go free ride, you can just grab that box, put it in the back of your truck, and you're going to have 95% of the stuff.
And it's not going to ding around. It's not going to be loud. It's not going to...
Yeah.
Well, the tools, does it have the foam inserts also?
Yeah, absolutely.
So nothing's sliding around all in there?
No. So it's quiet in your truck. So it's not, me. Yeah. It's like I can't hear my wife scream at me. But man, if that 10's rolling around in the back, I will pull over.
Oh, yeah. I can't handle
What's that noise?
You mean your wife thinks you have horrible hearing also? It's not just me?
It's everybody.
Yeah. So just having those fillers. And we have a 3-drawer. And then we just actually came out with a larger 5-drawer version of it where it has some open drawers because only
spare parts, chains, everything.
Or again, you always have that one special tool that you use that nobody else uses.
Yeah.
And trust me, man, we get every week requests on like, hey, why isn't this in the kit, or can you put this in the kit? And we note all that stuff, but we're trying to still make the kits pretty compact
affordable
as we can and then affordable, right? If we keep going and going, then
it should be expensive.
You have to provide bed trays that slide out.
Right.
And
like, here's
a chase
the
truck.
box, and then here's the filler box.
It's just too many products at that point,
But it is nice that Boxer sells all their tools individually too.
That's nice.
So if it's not on the kit, but
you could buy it and add it in
that
there.
Specialty kind of thing, then you can buy it and kind of put it into the box.
Dude, that's badass.
Yeah.
What markets do you guys kind of cater to? Obviously tools are used in everything, but obviously moto is a specific one.
So power sports as a general whole really drives a lot of the business in kind of UTV and that off-road segment, whether it's pre-runners, racing, any of that kind of stuff. That covers that gamut.
Yeah.
And then the moto side of things, it's still on the power sports, right? But we kind of treat it as its own side, dirt bike and then off-road, and then we just came out with an adventure bike kit. Too.
Basically,
smart.
Yeah.
Because basically anything that you really can't just take to a shop and have it fixed. Most of those, what you just mentioned, are like the people are hands-on.
Yeah.
You work on your own stuff. You fix your own things.
Well, if you're like me, it's like so hard to find somebody that you can trust.
Yes.
And that's going to be like careful with your stuff. And like, dude, dirt bikes these days are it's $12,000 for
Isn't it
it's insane.
out of control?
It's got one cylinder still.
Yeah,
dude,
right?
and 2 wheels.
How's it
The only thing that's
expensive?
crazier is road bikes.
Yeah,
those
those
guys
are
don't even have a
insane.
motor in there more.
And there's $7,000, $8,000, $12,000.
$15,000 for those.
It's so
things
wild.
and stuff. So it's cool for people to be able to have it. Also what we see too is just kind of the cool guy or somebody that just wants nice stuff. So there may be the guy that has his new KTM, Adventure 1190, right, and has his moto box. He may never touch the bike, but
But he has a kit.
he's got the kit and it's cool, right?
Yeah,
And your
it is
friends come
cool.
over, and when you open up your box and it's not just scattered and it has that organization, and your buddies haven't seen that before, it goes a long way. It's like, oh man, this is
Nice.
sick.
That's
This is
marketing right there.
awesome.
Totally does.
Yeah, I remember back when I was a Ferrari mechanic, I would go to some of the people's houses, and go work on their cars, and they would have this wall of, tools, and it's like gold plated and everything, like open drawers, and like,
He's never touched it.
Never touched it, but dude, I was like,
Wow. I'll use it. Yeah, exactly.
rad, I mean,
Well, that's where all that came from your guys' marketing. You guys made it a cool product.
yeah. First and foremost, we wanted to make sure that it worked.
Yeah, it's a
in
good
that
product.
application, and then really it became, our job to really make it cool.
Yeah.
And want people to want it and be part of something and
Yep.
be part of a community and stuff. And that's,
And you're in now.
I think,
you're welcome.
in all of our businesses.
Yeah.
Right.
You are. You guys are
there's a
welcome
lot
to
of
every.
photographers and videographers out there, right? But
Yeah.
it's the way that you present your business, right?
Yeah.
Exhaust, dude. That game is it's hard, right?
Yeah.
There's people bigger budgets, smaller budgets, and stuff.
Yeah,
everything, every direction.
All the vehicles that you built and all the marketing that you've done over the years with Gibson, it's just really,
it escalates you.
And it still takes a ton of work to even just maintain that position so you don't fall down.
Yeah.
Well,
And there's even
new
more
people
work
coming
going forward.
Yeah. And the younger demographic and stuff like that. And figuring out how to pivot your marketing to those guys.
Yeah.
Well, because back in the day, we were trying to
get
get younger crowds. You were look at the Dub toys and the trucks, Tonka trucks, that type of stuff. Nowadays, it's like, it's through social media, and I think you kind of lost the loyalty of some of these people because their attention span is so.
I mean, for us, when we started back then, we had the magazine.
We'd read a magazine.
We read a magazine, and if we wanted to put an ad out, we had to 3 months ahead of time. We had to put our ad in. So now I look back and go, like, man, you had to know what was cool. And then you had to hope that it was still cool within 3 months. Now, again, we didn't have social media, so everything didn't go as fast. So you were pretty safe knowing that 3 months later
that's true. Everything was much slower pace. Yeah,
it was much slower.
I miss it.
I do kind of too, because even though part of our agency, is a lot of it's social and all that kind of stuff. It's so hard to keep up with.
on it, man.
I even told you guys, I came in, man, like all the podcasts and the vlogs and all, like. I still like to work on my own cars and my family, too. So I really got to balance my time and try and figure it out. And luckily, I have a couple kids that are, younger and into that.
It is so cool that they're into it too.
Yeah,
fully committed to the industry, which is amazing. Okay, so Boxo is one hat. What's the other hat you're wearing?
So Round 2 Designs, again, is that boutique agency that was really kind of spawned on. It was kind of the catch-all of once I sold Modern Image. I just did a bunch of stuff and always do a bunch of stuff, and I needed that company to kind of just be the catch-all and really be to protect my ass,
Of course.
And so now it's really that agency that does sales and marketing. I was with Lucas for 14 years, 8 years in-house, and when I left, from being an in-house employee, I became a contract salesperson. So it was still my same role that I was doing. I just wasn't employed by Lucas Oil, on a W-2, 1099. And so that's, really kind of started around that. And then through our mutual friend, Ken Johnson, we shared office together at Lucas Oil for 8 years.
So
man.
crazy.
I was just like, big props, Ken Johnson. Anything I'm going to talk about social media, it's because of that dude right now. Props have to be given.
It's insane.
We shared an office, inside Lucas Oil, and he really started to teach me the social media stuff. One day he said, "Hey, Robert, I used to borrow his trailer. Like anybody that has a trailer, the best, guy that you have, is the guy that has a trailer, and you can borrow it." So man, I got to borrow it for a lot. And then he's finally like, "Hey, dude, would you be interested in buying my trailer? Because I want to buy this, social media page." And I was like, what are you talking about?
So crazy.
Dude, I'll give you a deal on the trailer. Okay. I don't
Fine,
care
I'll buy it, whatever,
I'll buy it, and that was the beginning of him when he bought.
Was that Muscle Kings? Insane.
Yeah, and turned it into the
animal that
largest muscle car page.
So wild. It was
in
insane.
the world. Before then it went away, and now he has, Classics Daily. So many different pages and stuff like that. So but throughout that time of, hanging out with him, and that was like kind of the powerhouse team, because I was the sales guy at Lucas Oil for their Team Lucas program. So I sold advertising into all their race series. So whether you wanted a commercial on TV, a banner on the track, or a product feature on Gibson, out there, then I sold all that. And Ken was the marketing director for it. So
it worked out great.
We got to, that's how I got to meet you, Brian. I got to see you race. I got to see your kids race.
So crazy.
So much fun on the off-road side. And that was only one of 7 series that Lucas Oil owned and that I sold into.
Insane. So they had the off-road, they had boat, they had circle track.
I think they had tractor pulls.
Tractor pull, pro pulling, man. It's so funny.
I think it's snowmobile races too.
It's everything. They didn't own the snowmobile side, but they were involved. It was such a awesome learning thing for me, after I sold Modern Image and took some time off and went to Magnaflow.
What was that? I just heard something.
That other exhaust company. And we were involved with Team Lucas. I had set that up. I was their director of marketing and stuff. And when I started to see, get to know the Lucas Oil model outside of the oil, right?
Yeah.
Everybody just thinks that they're an oil company or it's really an additive company and stuff. But with them owning all those race series and owning their own studio, I mean, it's crazy. Helicopters, cameras.
So wild, yeah. That's so much going on.
I met this dude. He's like, I don't even know if he could drive yet, man.
No, it was crazy. It was a long time
slinging
ago.
that camera, dude. Slinging those videos.
Just hungry, ready to get out there, do whatever it takes.
Yeah,
insane.
early on with Weller Racing and Corey and Elsinore and seeing those videos come out. Man. Speed World. I mean,
Speed World, that was...
Oh, man.
I think it was my first time maybe traveling to a race. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Long time ago. Speed World was awesome, too.
Such good times. I wish that series was
I know, me too.
Still around.
It was so good.
No better racing. I've got to see all kinds of racing. Been super fortunate to be in a bunch of different cars and at different events. And, we all know everybody that's out there. And short course off-road racing to me is still by far
it's
the best.
Still the coolest.
It's,
yeah.
It's sad where it's at right now.
It is. I hope that I hope that'll make its way back. The big acquisition where with the
big things
Midwest
happening
guys,
right now.
and been hearing some other news that maybe that's going to go even
too,
further. And you need it, so it's kind of interesting now because when we were part of it, everybody hated it. It's so hard.
It's so funny.
So hard being on both sides, right? Because working for the company that was doing it and then having the racers, and no matter what we've all raced and stuff, racers are never happy.
No.
It's always somebody else's fault or something, right? Instead,
Lucas is ruining it, blah, blah,
I can't
blah.
believe they're making so much money off of us. And it's like, oh man, you wish you could just say like, dude, no, you don't understand. They're losing $2 million a year.
Oh my God.
Losing, and basically they were just using it as advertising. So instead of cutting a check to network, CBS or CBS Sports, they said, hey, we're going to own this. We're going to control the way our brand was perceived. We're going to have our own thing. We're going to do this Team Lucas deal.
And we're going to create a platform that you guys can race at and sell real estate on your vehicles to. Because without television, without marketing,
you guys can't do any of that.
You're not going to get sponsors.
No.
And you brought big sponsors, and that was like the energy drink crazes too. Like the energy drink wars was going on.
It's still. I mean that. Probably, I'm glad you brought that up. It's probably the craziest thing in all of the sponsorship that I've been in is the energy drink wars.
It was wild.
Seeing the behind the scenes and how ruthless.
They didn't care.
They didn't care. And they did everything they could to protect
Rockstar. Rockstar.
Rockstar was there.
Was integrated in a long time.
But then you also have to, thank God that they infused all the energy drinks, infused so much money into action sports, and thank God they still are, man.
Exactly.
Always in my head, comes up, man, if they just decide to pull the plug on
all
action sports or any of that,
what is it then?
Done.
It would be over with.
Yeah, what's left?
I mean, even when we used to watch X Games and stuff, I would just think to myself, it's like, I don't even want to think it because I don't want it to ever come true. Like if those guys,
X Games would be
ever
gone,
pulled
everything
out,
would be
it'd
gone.
just be gone.
But that's what keeps them alive as well, I think. I think the action sports keeps them going as well.
Absolutely. And then to see all the little, shoot offs of the different drinks and different things that kind of come about.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
It is really cool.
I've still never had an energy drink without vodka before.
That's
and I can't remember last time I had one with vodka, but
see, I know I like this guy.
Same styles.
It's always been like right there, but for me, anyways, it just gave me a headache.
I don't never. I mean, we have monsters in here, but I never drink them.
Yeah, like coffee's more than enough in the morning. I don't even drink. I'll make a cup of coffee every morning and
drink this much of it.
Yeah, I drink this much of it. I always find them full the next day, or I'll grab the wrong one the next day. Thinking it's the same one. It's cold.
Wow, that was horrible.
Yeah, if you're at the party and you say you literally want a splash.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's like, literally, I just need
a tiny bit just for that flavor.
Touch it in there.
I want to sleep tonight or this week.
This week.
I'm already too wound up already.
Oh, dude, for real,
I don't
man.
need any help with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I can't do it. I do iced tea, and I'm usually pretty good.
Yeah.
So, when you were the marketing director at Magnaflow, that was a huge time too, because they were really coming on hard.
Yeah.
Came in with huge budgets, and that probably, regardless of it, Magnaflow, everything. I mean, I got love for everybody out there. It had to be a pretty fun time though too, because they're like, "Here's a big budget, go do something."
Oh man, everywhere I've been, it's about learning, right?
Yeah.
The dollar will come, and I can make a bunch of money right now if I wanted to.
Yeah.
I just want to be a part of something, and I want to learn, and be part of the industry that I'm in, right? Otherwise I could go do something else and not care. But
exactly.
I wouldn't have fun.
Well, you wouldn't be happy. As happy, I guess.
Yeah. So we have Modern Image, and when I sold that, I took a couple years off, and then we moved out of state, and then we came back to Huntington, and figured out I was probably gonna have to work again. I thought I was done, but I was still pretty young. I'm like, it could be cool. And it was cool for like 6 months, and then you go like, okay,
what am I gonna do myself?
All the rest of my friends were still working.
Yeah, of course.
So that sucks. Like, hey, dude, let's take the boat out.
Nah.
Dude, I'm working.
So I got a job.
Let's go do this. Like,
you're like, okay, so next time I have to sell it for enough to bring some friends with me too.
Exactly.
I know. That's what it's all about, right? So, Magnaflow was a client of mine for 10 years when I had Modern Image. So kind of got to, see them and know the family and everything like that. And sold and moved, came back and was just hanging out. I was actually like surfing every day. It was pretty fun. I'd ride my bike down to the beach and spend time with the kids. And I think Darren Shubin, who was the sales manager and still a good friend, he's not there anymore, called me and said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I don't know.
Surfing, actually.
Surfing.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm
pretty
my
rad.
wetsuit
I mean,
off.
you're kind of,
You're ruining my time right now, dude.
He's like, we're looking for somebody. We're looking for a marketing director. What do you think? And
Wow.
I said, well, yeah. I mean, so I come down, and have an interview, and I started getting in my own head because I'd just been my own boss forever.
Yeah.
I think, prior to Modern Image, I think the last real job I had was I was a waiter,
Crazy,
something like that,
dude,
And even then I got to kind of control what I wanted to do and switch hours
when you
and
want to
stuff
work,
like that. And so I'm thinking in my head, oh man, how can I'm not going to be able to wear shorts, or you can make me wear a tie or whatever. So I remember going in for that first interview and just blurting out all these different ideas, just that you kind of think about, right? That we all, the brain's just always going. And then they called me back for a second interview, and we just kept talking. They're like, we're going to stop you right there because you haven't talked about money. And I'm like, well, money's secondary, right? I mean, if you tell me, tell me I have to wear a tie, this conversation's over with.
Yeah,
right?
so I'm not going to,
If you tell me like, it's, I have to be in the office every single day, and like, then it's probably not going to be for me, I'm okay if I can't wear flip-flops, but damn
whatever,
it,
I really want to.
You're like, but what about board shorts?
Yes, it's like, so if my shorts have pockets, on the front, is that okay? If I don't go in the warehouse where there's, machines that are going to kill me, are you okay with that?
Stay in my office.
And so it was really fun to kind of do that. And then to your point, so came in, and with Modern Image, it was always about networking. It was about being part of the industry, being where we were at, right? In Southern California, in the heart of kind of Orange and the Inland Empire right there. We just had the unfair advantage to anybody else that was not where we were at, right? There was way more talented sticker guys than me that were in Iowa, but they were in Iowa, right? They just didn't have that kind of connection. So when it came into Magnaflow, to not have to be a barter or a bro or this or whatever, and actually have a real marketing budget, it was it was next level for me.
I can only imagine like being able to walk in without the stress of everything else that comes with it. And I mean, having,
we're doing this,
having one position that you have to just be great at, with a budget, like it would probably be a dream come true.
It was. I mean, it was. It really exposed me to TV and being able to, because that was the next level. It always, the events, the magazines, the shows.
But once you're on TV, you're
the athletes and that kind of stuff. That was already in the mix, right? But that next step in the TV, and that was never in what I had. Even though we'd done movies and done that kind of stuff, I could not have ever ran a Modern Image ad in those. Right? I was just part of it on the back end side of it. So that was eye opening. And then really to kind of start to manage all their top celebrities and before it was called influencers. Now they would, every one of those would just be influencers, but
crazy.
Then they were just
Celebrities.
Yeah. Right. So it was Mario Andretti and Ivan Stewart and Chip Foose and, pretty good gamut of high dollar stuff, which again,
still crazy.
When I had to stroke those checks, it was like same thing. Oh, this is pretty rad.
Yeah,
actually, I didn't even
you.
stroke the check. I just wrote the
told
little
him,
thing and said, "Hey, cut this guy a check." I was like,
insane.
I just asked for it. Man,
that much money.
Yeah, But yeah, a whole different, thing. And I mean, you're right in it, right? I mean, exhaust is awesome because of the sound, right? So it can help set you aside in your vehicle side and let
It gives
people,
your vehicle a voice. It gives it a personality
as you're coming up. But it's under the car.
Yeah.
It's
Can't
not
see
necessarily sexy.
Yeah.
Really at all.
It's
not. It's not really seen.
Yeah.
So to market and have to spend that, and how can you make exhaust sexy?
Yeah.
Right. And do that challenge was super rad.
So cool.
And it was just pulling all kinds of different things
I
together.
remember back then, like everyone's like, "Oh, are you worried about MagnaFlow? Oh, they're putting all this money out there, all these celebrities, all this stuff," and I'm like, no, they're carrying me right with them too.
Bring the whole
You
industry
know,
up.
like-
Yeah. And I don't think I've ever told anybody, but yeah, I mean, we looked at Gibson, right? I
Yeah,
mean, Gibson
of course.
was the pinnacle of exhaust when I, came in.
Yeah.
MagnaFlow had, the tuner market, the truck market,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you guys never really got heavy into the tuner side. It's
The
really
only
always
time
the
was maybe
truck.
like Keystone says, "Hey, the wives are asking for something for the
You
Honda
need something."
Civic," and we
Yeah.
put something and it would never sell.
Yeah.
Like other than
So, I remember early on, probably within the first few weeks or something, we sat down at the conference table and like, so Gibson is the benchmark.
yeah.
So crazy.
And we need to be better than them.
Yeah.
And just like you
Yeah.
said, right? It's interesting what budgets can do.
Yeah. Oh, budget's
It
insane.
is. Well, it's like they kind of dethroned us through, but they didn't kick us off the throne.
No, I think they
We all
realized
went
too.
out-
When you can get along, you never. I mean, competitors are competitors, right?
100%.
But when you can be cordial and everything, like you're understanding that can all grow.
yeah.
Instead of just mfing those.
Yeah,
like, I can't believe
exactly.
those guys and they're whatever,
doesn't get you anywhere
And I
anyway.
had some
Kick us out.
MF words
Well,
a
for
couple
sure.
times. So.
Yeah, I mean, we all do. But yeah, I mean, it helps grow the whole entire
industry.
But
industry
it
in
wasn't even too. I mean, like they just grew the exhaust category. You guys were a leader in when it came to marketing and elevating the brands and growing. I mean, the aftermarket industry. I mean, a lot of people have do owe MagnaFlow a thanks and that budget that they gave you and yourself to elevating it differently. I mean, the entire aftermarket industry had something to come from that. Every dollar put into marketing and getting exposure is exposing our industry to new people.
Sure.
So crazy. So before that, let's go back to the very beginning where before Modern Image, or even when that came into play, where did that come from?
But real quick, what is Modern Image?
Yeah, I guess.
Give us a quick little blurt and then we'll get into it.
Yeah.
Modern Image Signworks. I mean, probably most well known for Fast and the Furious.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that. Fast and Furious was 10 years into it and stuff.
So
that MI
crazy.
logo on the hood, of the Eclipse and the Jetta and
All of them.
So the first three movies got to be a part of that. We did all the graphics in
So
it.
sick.
The first movie, our Eclipse, which was a third gen Eclipse, actually was casted for the movie, but too expensive to replicate 7 times. So that's where the second gen green one came into
And at
play.
this
and stuff
point
too.
too,
So,
like with
yeah.
Fast and Furious, I got to get into this because like through your whole career and even my career, so many people came with these ideas. So much, I'm gonna have a movie, or I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna do that, or we're like it just there was so much talk and very few ever really was what they said it was. And then Fast and the Furious, you're probably thinking in the very beginning when these guys are coming to you like, oh, it's another stupid car show, that's just or car movie that's not going to do anything. And then, I mean, look, here we are.
No,
They're still coming out with new ones.
I
yes,
can't
the
believe
10th
it.
one.
I mean, anybody you can ask that was, in that original screening, and I remember being, in the studio in that screening and just
So
going,
cool.
like, oh my God,
They're really doing
I can't
this.
believe our name's on this, right? Motec exhaust and just, it's just, Hollywood, it was crazy. And the thing that, I don't know what it's been, it was 2001, I think.
I think it was
when
24 years the other day. I think
2001.
2001, I think, was the first movie. And we started Modern Image in 91. So, there wasn't
22
even an
years, though.
import scene
Yeah.
when we started Modern Image. It was about
mini
mini truck.
trucking.
I was a mini truck guy, right? And that's how I got to know Gibson and his family. And Sean probably doesn't
they were
know,
all-
but man, like they were the pinnacle, dude. I mean, like I looked up to them, when I got the truck magazines and the mini truck magazines and all that, and even when you walk through their building, they have all, we all have
It's
our
so
plaques.
cool.
There's one company called In the News, they just kill it.
They do. Yeah, they get you every time.
Every time, they hit you out. I got thousands and thousands of dollars of these plaques, you know. And so to walk through his building and see some of the old school OG builds that I would look up to, right? And just go like, oh man, Gibson, and just the family too is so rad that here's this business building vehicles. Just you built a lifestyle, which again, that people want to be part of. So it was the vehicles, the boats, you know, like at that time I wasn't into the boats and Havasu and all that, but man, you know, I had appreciation for anything that was custom.
Yeah,
didn't matter if it was a scooter or freaking big wheel, whatever. You know, if it was custom. And I was into it. So man, I was just like, I looked up to you, your whole family. You know, your dad, your mom, your sister, everybody
making me blush over here.
Yeah, because especially because I grew up with a single mom.
Yeah.
My dad wasn't really part of it. We're great friends now and stuff, but everything all my car stuff comes from him, but he just wasn't part of my life then. So really got to look to you guys, you know, as you were like this unseen mentor, your whole family as a whole, you know, to go. Yeah. And you have to tell your dad and your mom, you know, too, because
listen to this one.
It's rad. I mean, we go to shows and see your booths and, you know, I have Modern Image and you're just, you know, there's few people in the industry that I really kind of looked up to. Rob Mongi with Master Image Customs, which we always got. He's another guy that was just a trend.
We talked about him recently too.
100%. Yeah.
Oh man, if you see him, you got to tell him I said hi.
Dude, Master Image Customs is so sick.
It was so. I mean, we always got mixed up because we were Modern Image or Modern Summers. He was Master Image. Yeah, we did stuff for him. He did stuff for us. Though. Like we had quite a few of our ads where we borrowed his like semi and our pimp suits and stuff like that, and just rad.
What was so awesome about those times too is the West Coast was the trendsetters.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
We didn't have to like go market to the whole world. We marketed here, and those trends would just go.
I mean, for me, like the very beginning, I'm just a custom guy.
Yeah.
I just always enjoyed custom vehicles. I bought my first mini truck 2 days after my 15th birthday. You know, I walk home from high school. I walked like 4 miles, you know, up and back. Like today, parents won't even let their kids walk 4 blocks, you know, 4 miles each way.
4 blocks, I mean, 4 feet out the front door.
Like so sketch. And I think that's probably the problem. Like, parents, chill out.
Exactly. Let your kids are fine.
They're going to be
They'll
fine,
be all right.
Right?
Yeah.
Teach them some kung fu. Anyways, but it was always about just building cars and being part of something, and it just kind of grew. And I think too, with the passion helps grow the company, right? And then you start the trends. And luckily, again, we were in this hub of this mecca of things going on, right? And we all, you all have your ideas, but you borrow other people's ideas, right? And then tweak them and stuff. And being exposed to that kind of stuff, it's just kind of like going to whatever, any kind of car show, wherever you walk around, For me now, it's, 99% of the cars are going to just be cars that I don't really, I appreciate. Same thing.
Of course.
Rad. It's going to be that 1% that just has a couple details that I'm going to stop at and just going to study and maybe make a note and, and at some point or another, maybe later on, I'm going to go like, oh man, remember that thing? That car
like,
had a painted interior or, or something like that.
Well, and passion is what drives everything. I think that's the death of most companies is when the passionate people that were the driving force either A, are no longer passionate and they didn't replace themselves with someone passionate, or there's just no one there. Like when a company gets acquired and it becomes just a profit center, right? And they're just looking at profits and they're just trying to diversify into everything that they can just to get a little bit of market share out of the way. Like it won't work. Like that's why we never really got into tuner stuff because I wasn't passionate about it.
Yeah,
and my dad
it wasn't your scene.
It wasn't our stuff. Like, supercars and all that stuff. Like, they're cool, but I'm not passionate about it. Now, my son Chance, he's passionate about it. So there may be an opportunity to do it. But
maybe that's where he can come in and
change
do his own little deal.
But you have to have that passion. And that's, I think all great stories start with just that passion. So where did that passion come from?
Honestly, I don't know. Again, like I said, just walking home from high school, seeing this, it was a Datsun 620 extra cab.
Sick.
And I walked past it every day. It was like tan. It was lowered a little bit already. I'm like, oh man, that thing's so sick. And I was already working. I started working when I was 13. Again, single mom.
What were you doing?
Everything that, she could. So I started a Round Table Pizza.
Nice.
And
which was kind of a good job back in the day.
It was kind of cool. That's eventually where I met the mini truck club that I that I got involved with them, which really
Is this
blossomed
locally here?
everything. That was in Lakewood, so I grew up in Lakewood.
Cool.
And I was going to Mayfair High School and just kind of walking back and forth and bought this. So it was 2 days after my 15th birthday. I had been saving up and seen this truck, and I told my mom, like, hey, I want to buy this truck. I want to start working on it. And I think I need like 800 more bucks.
Yeah.
You know? So I borrowed 800 bucks from a
That's
couple different
awesome.
people, and then paid off. And I got this truck, and single mom working her ass off. She would wake up early and go to work. You know, she'd leave at 6, and then she'd get back at like 4 o'clock or something
Yeah.
there. You know, so she's gone at 6. I'm a freshman in high school, bro. Yeah. When does high school start, right? Dude, 15 years old, rocking the mini truck to high school, right?
Dude, awesome.
And then she would go to bed, she'd go to bed early, like 8, 9 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
And then we would go to In-N-Out, cruise every
And go
night,
hang out.
In-N-Out,
That's what
So
you
I
did.
did it for like 7 months until I got pulled over one night.
Oh,
And,
no.
I was with the truck club cruising and got pulled over and got, whatever, too low ticket and stuff. But got a ticket for drive without a license.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's over. Mom's going to kill me.
Yep. Busted.
Whatever, Yeah. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. It ended up
She
being okay.
respected
I went to the
it.
judge and said, hey, I'm just a car guy, I'm just trying to, I'm
sorry.
I'm just test driving it, put some new parts on it.
But that's what we're sorry. I got that truck, and I think I met the truck club guys. They met at Round Table.
Awesome.
And they kind of invited me in. I was just this kid, and just, when you're around a group of guys like that, right? I don't know how many people. There may have been like 20 people in the club or something like that. You just, these ideas, and it was new to me. I kind of knew. I just started cutting up stuff and
So you
trying
fire each other
stuff out.
up. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Do
Do you remember the name of the truck club?
Minor Infractions was where it
Awesome.
started.
You know what's
out with,
funny
and-
is Darren Shubin from Agaflow and stuff, when we were probably still in high school, 16, 17, we were all part of the same truck club. The truck club we created was called Contradictions.
I remember. We did stickers for him.
Yeah.
That's where I met. That's where I met Darren from.
That's awesome.
He came to me. We sponsored him and started doing stuff. We had a Hot Wheel made of his car. And,
Yeah.
Sick,
and stuff like his
dude.
Integra.
Yeah.
Yes, man. He had
Okay.
like a Cobalt or something like that.
Yes,
Yep,
yes.
that's what I met
Wow.
him. There's a lot. It's really, dude. It's been so fun to see people succeed in this business. Like Nick from Falcon, he was a San Diego street racer guy.
Really? That's
and same
awesome.
thing. We kind of helped him out and did his car, and
Wow.
I think a Hot Wheel got made of his car.
Dude,
and stuff
that's
like
cool.
that too. So all these different people, and a lot of our employees / friends. To see them still succeeding today in the graphic game.
That's
right?
cool.
Eric from Garage Graphics, Vic
Wow.
from Next Step, Mike's at Temp Pros, Joe has Backyard. So
Wow.
all these guys that worked with us at Modern
Well,
Image.
I talk
and that's
about being
still-
custom. I mean, how much more custom can you really get other than like graphics and print, and decals and stuff like?
that was times before wraps.
Yeah, wrap didn't exist. It was die cut vinyl stuff, or if we were doing graphics,
That
it was
would peel off like a little piece at a time,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
unless you did
Or
it just
I
right.
still have I get nervous when I'm thinking about Brembo stickers because they would order them 10,000 out of a time.
Oh, my
and you have to-
gosh.
it's called weeding.
Oh,
you
yeah.
pick it out. And probably, my best employee to this day, sorry to all the rest of the guys, was my mother-in-law, Kathy. And she's just
Would she weed all of them?
weeding machine, and she still does for a lot of the guys that I just
way.
mentioned. They'll call her, because
To
it's,
go weed stickers.
They'll just give her, 5,000
Because there's
stickers
no
and
really
shit. There's
great
no
way to
automation
do it,
to it.
right?
No.
There was thermal die cut, which, at least did it where the machine didn't have to cut in. It was easier to build, but still picking those two insides of the B
Oh
and the
my
inside
gosh.
of the
Oh.
that's tweezers and
That's a
every
pain in the butt.
pain in the ass. Absolutely.
Dude, and put it, you always stick it on your other hand like this.
Yeah. Or
Oh,
the
no, you're doing the whole-
graphics and
Trying to get it to stick
it's
and
hard.
peel.
But the one thing that is that for you guys it was different because you had custom paint jobs on
Yeah.
pretty much everyone
Uh-huh.
custom
True,
graphics.
yeah.
Again,
True. Yeah.
you guys got to look back and research and their family name and their vehicles and stuff. If you don't know,
They were
man,
sick.
dude,
The
just,
flames.
Yeah.
flames and
Flames,
graphics
yeah.
and Starbucks, all these
Yeah.
custom painters and stuff like
Oh,
that.
yeah, Stardust, right.
But at the end of the day, you still had to, because I call it scamming parts, right? You still got sponsored or got, you scam
Yeah.
parts, right?
Of course.
And when you showed up to the show, you had to have that sponsor sticker on the
Yeah.
back window
Yes.
or on your signboard or whatever. So that's where we kind of came in. We always were doing that. So at the very, very beginning, I mean, how Modern Image started, again, because I was custom guy, had my mini truck, and then just like anything, and it's so funny because we're going to talk about you have river season, right?
Yeah.
And you just fire it up, you have your clothing line. For me, I wanted a clothing line like most people did.
Everyone wanted one,
When you're growing up, like, I mean, you think about Mike from LBZ, right? Like, dude, LBZ, you got the thing, you got all the hot chicks, and you got all your buddies up, and so rad, And
it was just so cool.
So that's how Modern Image started out. I was still in the truck club. We were getting painted windows. So back then, you had guys that hand painted windows.
Oh, yes, I've seen that.
True
Yeah,
artists, right? You know, like people
those
like,
guys are
you're
insane.
an
The feather
artist.
painting.
Dude,
Oh.
I can punch keys on a computer, and I
Yeah.
can
The
hardly draw. I
pinstriping,
can hardly draw a stick person, but I hired people that could draw
Of
stick
course.
people really good.
Really
but
good.
those guys were rad. So it was at the very beginning of when die cut decals were coming in. I went to this lady's place. I can't remember. It was like in Stanton or something. It was called Sign Tech. This lady, Sherry, she had in her living room, she was babysitting like 7 kids.
Oh
and
my
then had this
God.
side hustle where she was, cutting these stickers, and it was like these old Gerber machines. Like you had, each font had its own cartridge. So
No way.
5 fonts. Okay, I want that one. And she would plug it in. And I had Modern Image stickers made for my clothing line, which I didn't have a
Awesome.
clothing line, but
Really? That's what it was gonna
That's
be.
what it was going to be. It was going to be Modern Image.
That's
you know?
awesome.
And then, so that was like, oh man, that machine that's cool. I didn't even know how to turn on a computer at that point. You know? I mean, it was pretty
my
early on in
gosh.
the grand scheme of things. And I remember coming back, I had a roommate in Bellflower. We shared this house, and then my best friend John from Arizona, John Molajak, Maniacs Garage on Instagram and stuff. I remember sitting out on the front lawn. He had his Nissan 720, tailgate down. We're sitting there. We weren't cool. We weren't drinking beers. Probably should. Now I think back, God, why were we drinking beers? We should have been drinking beers. The story would have been so much radder if we had a beer in our hand. But I pitched this idea to these guys, like, hey, dude, stickers, stickers for cars.
Custom
and
stickers.
Car clubs and truck clubs and windshield stickers. And they both looked at me like I was like, what are you talking about, And one buddy, Daryl, was like, talk about more. And John's like, well, how much are you going to charge? I don't know. It's like $5 for a windshield sticker and like $1 for a 12-inch side, And it's still so vibrant in my mind, even though I can hardly remember. I can't hear certain things. I for sure can't remember a lot of stuff. But John said, how are you ever going to make it selling a sticker for $1?
Like, well,
I just let that go right through one
I'm
ear.
still going to do it.
And he said, I'm out. And Daryl said, I'm in.
Really?
And so we said, okay, well, cool. How are we going to do this? At that point,
first we need this machine. We need a plotter.
We need this machine. I have no idea how much it costs.
I don't know what the brand is, but we got to figure it out.
So we started, researching it. And at that point, I had, I don't know. Well, I mean, went from the mini truck, multiple mini trucks, mini Blazers, like S10 Blazers.
Sick.
I mean, we're skipping so far. But my first bug that Brian McCormick actually shot before I even knew Brian McCormick and stuff, and we started cruising with him.
Sick.
But I had this Nissan 720 that we did tandem axle. So it was 6 wheels. It was cut convertible, and I designed a set of Lamborghini doors for it.
Wow.
In woodshop.
I remember that.
Which was like trend setting at that point.
It wasn't, now you can buy those, those kits, or whatever.
But back then you couldn't.
That was even like 10 years ago that you could do that. But then, I mean, I basically built a PVC model in woodshop and, started figuring out how to do this thing.
No
I made
way.
my doors go like that. And then John was a huge Volkswagen. I met John from the truck club. So we were in the truck club at a meeting at Round Table in Lakewood. He had just moved from like Romania, so he came from Romania. He was only, he lived in Downey or something like that. I think he was only here for a year, and he pulled up in this Lancia. It's a European car, and it was all white.
Lancias are
white
amazing.
Rim, Lancia Beta or something like that. And that's how we met. And that was in, I don't even know. 80. I suck at dates too. So somewhere in the later 80s or mid 80s and stuff. And we're still best friends to this day. He's coming down tomorrow, towing his car down. We're going to do some video stuff with it over the weekend and stuff too.
What prompted you to want to sell Modern Image?
Well, It's hard, man. It's like it's your existence.
I
It's
can't
who you
imagine,
are.
yeah.
It's still. I sold it in 2005. There's not a day that goes by that it comes up in some way or another. I still
Really?
get hit up to do stickers all the time. I still do stuff. It's kind of like riding a bike.
So you
We're
mean
still,
all
at
those
Boxo, we do a bunch of
you're
custom
wrapping,
wraps and limited edition stuff, and it's really fun to be able to get to
Not to have
do
fun with
some
it
of that
again, yeah.
stuff.
So even though you sold it, you still haven't been able to clock out yet permanently.
No, and really selling it, man, life was just so out of control at that point. Business was crazy.
So busy.
I mean, it was so busy. And kind of even back up from that, I had 2 kids. I have a boy and a girl.
Yeah.
When they're super young, they don't realize that dad's not there.
Yeah.
Right? And I was not there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were just.
I work all
work.
day, and then Peggy would come at night. My wife
Oh
would
my
come and do the books
gosh.
at night and stuff. And really, that's what we did.
Yeah.
She was a dental hygienist too, and
Oh my
thank God she
gosh.
helped pay some of the bills when we couldn't.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, thank God you had
it just got
stability.
to the point where they were getting older.
Yeah.
And they started asking, like, where's dad at? And I wasn't at the soccer games or stuff like that. So that really was weighing on
Yeah.
me. And probably a few years before I ended up selling, I started reading some books and talking to some people and getting involved with some real estate.
Okay.
And with this industry, it's all about the networking and
Oh,
the people.
yeah.
And it's probably the thing I miss the most about not having Modern Image is that every single day I would get to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they're in different industry or different businesses and really kind of get their feedback. It was really cool a lot of times, and then other times it kind of sucked because. Like say for instance, you would come in and like, dude, we just came back from Glamis. It's the raddest thing ever. It's so sick. And dude, in the background, I'd be like, oh, this is so rad. And I was like, fuck that guy,
Yeah.
I can't believe we
it.
got to do this. And
This
I
sucks.
had a badass long travel sand car at the house.
Yeah.
And my
But you can't go
my-
out.
I couldn't go out. I
'Cause you're so busy.
I was too busy. So it was a really weird thing where I didn't have kind of control. And I never said, I think it's really what helped us propel in business and really what helped, even to this day is that, again, if I gave you my word, it was going to be done, it was going to be done. It didn't matter if I didn't sleep for 3 days
Yeah.
or I had to pay, 5 of my guys overtime and I lost,
Yeah.
$5,000.
Still getting it done.
If I looked you in the eye and said, your car that you got to me late, right? You've been
Exactly,
Building, you've been building this car mean, for us, we were the last.
Of course, they're very last
We were
stop.
the last, and we
everybody-
had so much pressure on us too because again, if you got free wheels, you got free tires, you got suspension. Your audio guy killed himself, to do all the stuff.
Yeah.
All that. It was at the paint shop for a year. Then
Yeah.
it was at the upholstery shop for
course.
4 months. Now it's 4 hours before it's going to be in the studio, in Brian's studio, to get shot
It needs
to
to
the
get wrapped
world to be
still.
on the cover. And if you don't have their logos on there, dude, your phone's going to blow
Game-
up,
yeah.
and you're going to. And so it was just.
You're always,
I was always.
And a lot
You
of
put in
times
those
you
bad
were rushing
situations.
to even get it to the magazines in time before it went to the show, and then it was
everything.
it was wild.
It's still like that nowadays, man.
It's
We have people
never-
bringing the race
yeah.
trucks, or they plan on bringing it in, but they never get it done in time for the race, and they go straight to the race. Like, it happens all the time to
Well,
us.
like when we
It's
built
fun.
vehicles back in the day, you never drove it, you never did anything with it until it went to SEMA, got shot, and got everything cleaned up and all the marketing stuff done and posters or whatever
Yeah.
done. Then you would go take it to a show and go debut it and maybe drive it down the street.
Yeah, then you would tear it back apart and
And
try
then
and make it
fit-
right.
exactly,
Yeah.
finish everything
Right.
correctly.
They get roadworthy
We got to
again.
work on overhauling quite a few
Everything.
times too, and TV and Hollywood. So funny what goes on
So insane.
behind the scenes.
Well,
and
how
stuff.
did that? I guess, yeah. How did the Fast and Furious deal come up? Did they come to you? How did that start
Yeah.
out?
So again, we were just super fortunate to be. There was no import scene.
Yeah.
And when the import scene, it really, the import scene came from the mini trucking side. So it was mini trucking. And at the, during mini trucking, then there was these cars, sport compact cars that were part of the mini truck scene that had the crazy graphics and that were lower and that were at Easter Spring Splash and all these,
my
kind of
gosh.
gyms.
There's
a
and
very
stuff like that,
similar
and
trend.
It was the same vibe.
Yeah.
And that's really where it started. Like sport compact car at the very early days, if you look at sport compact car, it had a lot of the
Mini
truck
truck.
run cars
Crazy.
in it. And then
right.
made the transition, and luckily throughout that time, with Mike Shartzis and Sean Carlson and Brian McCormick and all these guys, we knew all those guys, right? a lot of times we saved their ass.
Yeah.
Because they were
Getting
building
their
cars
stuff
and
done.
they needed their stuff
Yeah,
done.
last
They
second.
also, and it went both ways, right? Dude, they would do a tech article on how to do racing stripes on your mini truck, right? I mean, racing stripes at the back, it's what bought my house.
It was everything.
It was everything. It was
God.
like a 6-inch, 2-inch stripe, the most simplest thing in my whole entire life. I wish I could still be selling
But it
racing
was still
stripes
difficult.
today.
It was still
a pain
difficult though
in
because
the
you still
ass
had to
put
make
on.
it straight.
And
back in
selling
those
it was
times,
easy. Putting on sucked.
Yeah, and in those times, cars were very round too. A lot of times, they were kind of like in the late '90s. Things kind of started getting real
Bubbly.
rounded and bubbly, and putting 2 parallel stripes over the top wasn't
Well,
easy.
you were talking about wraps. Wraps didn't exist. It was normal vinyl. It didn't have the air release on it. It had to be
Insane.
wet applied.
Yeah.
And we, what you would consider now wrap, we wrapped cars that way.
With that.
So
So insane. How long
so
did
to
that last
kinda
back
think
then? It lasts
well,
a year? I mean, it lasts.
No, I mean the normal vinyl will last way longer than the
Than a wrap.
printed
Okay,
stuff.
gotcha, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
Because
it's
the
a solid
lamination
color,
what
yeah.
fills.
Yeah.
It's all the it's all the horizontal surfaces. Your hood and roof's gonna.
Oh, for
be
sure.
the
Yeah,
first
because the
thing
sun
that
beats on it.
Yeah.
So insane. Okay, yeah. So,
Yeah.
and then you're associated with all those people, and then Fast and Furious comes in.
Yeah. So as that came about, and the import scene just grew, and our business grew. The mini truck and stuff started to fall off.
A little bit.
The truck scene or trucking,
Yeah.
sport truck was still there, but the import scene swallowed it all. It just
Wow.
really took off.
Import
And,
was giant. All the underglows, all the everything,
All
and
the
then
underglows,
like,
man.
Yeah. And again, it was, so we're talking, it's probably like 9 years of, it was 10 years of business before the first Fast and Furious
Okay.
came in. But really probably the import scene was, I don't know, maybe 7 years strong into that. And import drag racing, Stefan Papadakis that we know through all the drifting and stuff, a big import drag before drifting, right?
Yeah.
So drifting didn't exist in the U.S.
So crazy.
Japan it did. But,
at all.
We went
yeah.
through the whole import drag scene
before the drifting came in.
before the drifting.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just like anything. It's been crazy to see these trends, not even trends, these different industries come and how
how they blow up.
growth implodes them, right?
Yes.
So I remember at the beginning of the import drag scene, we had Battle of the Imports and stuff like that. And literally you would drive your Civic out to Palmdale. Full, just your normal deal, 3 bros or whatever in ice chest. You would get there and then you start unbolting your seats and taking your pound, start making it lighter, right? And then you drag race, right? Probably did in like 18 seconds.
And put it
or
back in,
something,
yeah.
And then at the end, we had these full, built, probably, I don't know what
Insane.
it got down 6 seconds or something.
Yeah.
But basically it grew so much that it took the sport away because it got too crazy.
Well, it's kind of like I think everything is
That's why it's
like
too much.
surfing. There's a swell that comes in. You got to catch the wave.
Yeah.
Choose the right one.
Yeah.
Ride as long as you can, and it's going to end. But you have to be ready to go pick up the next
and then
one.
shift, right?
Yeah,
Into it
shift.
and stuff too. So so we were doing a bunch of other TV shows and movie stuff even prior to, because again, just luckily our the reputation that if they need stuff done in Hollywood is crazy. It's crazy. You worked on it. Either you're sitting around eating all their free good food, picking your nose,
Or it
and
needs to be
you've gone
done right
through,
now.
This was before social media, so you're just like
Can't be scrolling
Flipping
Instagram.
pages on the
my
magazines.
God,
Yeah.
kill me. Or you're like, oh my God, I'm gonna die
Yeah,
because
freaking out.
I haven't slept, and there is no, you can't say can't,
Nope.
and you
No, you're
can't
getting
say
it done.
no,
Yeah.
and they taught me a bunch of different words like what's it going to take and how many people do you need, and you start to talk about budgets.
Doesn't matter.
There is no budget.
Yeah,
Failure is
right.
not an option.
The
Whatever.
budget is basically if you have everybody, these top paid movie stars, the lighting rigs, all the photographers,
cinematographers,
videos, all that. You think about every minute that goes by that you're not filming, how much
You're
they're
wasting money.
losing. So I think the first time when I told one of the producers, I don't think we're going to be able to do this. We had to do 7 cars overnight, and I ran out of material, and it's just not going to. They don't open until then. Like,
We can't get the material.
how can you make this happen? I said, well, I have the guy's cell phone. Let me call him, but the shop's closed, and it's, they're not going to pick it up. Shipping's already done. See if he has the material. Okay. I want you to call, UPS, and it's called Sonic Air. And it's the first time I ever, got exposed to that. Basically, they will
They put it
go
on
and
a plane.
knock on the door at his house or wherever he's at 8 o'clock at night, and they'll They picked up one roll of material, right? The roll of material from, our cost was like $300 or something. I think the shipping was $700. But at 3 a.m, warehouse, and this was on Fast 2 in Miami.
God.
And here's the UPS guy delivering the thing. I was like, oh.
Wow.
So I guess everything is,
This is
kinda-
legit.
Pretty much
everything
anything is
is
possible.
kinda
Money-
possible.
money
And
will make
again,
anything possible.
Jets or what, they have, there's so many different things, It's like,
So
hey, man,
rad.
we need an autometer tack. Well, yeah, nobody has it. It's closed. It's 11 o'clock at night. So here comes the person that pulls the molds, and the gel mold, and then we would print
my
the
gosh.
face of it.
Yeah.
And they would paint it, silver and stuff, and then we would sticker the face. And now
Make it
you
look
had
legit.
a monster tack on the apron.
Oh
So
my
rad
gosh,
to kinda
that's
see
so
that. It's
amazing.
kind of open.
Imagine how
mind
much
to
you guys
it.
would have loved 3D printers back then.
Oh yeah, and there wasn't
nothing like that, yeah.
No, and then to see cars getting painted overnight and just how
Spraying them.
crummy a lot of the work was, but on
But on film, you
on
can't
film,
see. Yeah.
It looks great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Fast and the Furious, typically we would build 7 cars.
Each
The
car,
one
there was
hero
7 of
car,
them.
Yeah. So even like the Supra, Craig's Supra and
Yeah.
stuff that that he owned and stuff. So his personal car that was part of the movie, it was beautiful and it had everything. And
Yeah.
then the rest of the cars mimicked it, and depending on what it was doing, if it was just a jump car, then it wouldn't need to have a bunch of the interior kind of stuff. But it
dude.
all had to have the graphics.
Yeah, of
right?
course.
It all
I mean,
had to have
how
the
are you
graphics on
running
it.
a business at the same time?
It was interesting. It was definitely, especially that first movie, because we were in Huntington. The picture car warehouse was in LA, and again, like I said, they have no. Our reality
Didn't matter to them.
not. It doesn't matter. They're like, hey, I have to run a business.
You are there right now, and that's
I have
all
a
that matters.
family, and
Hey,
they're
look,
like,
I don't give a shit about
they're
your
like-
life. This is your life.
like, yeah, you're screwed, bro. Hire people, buy equipment, whatever.
Yeah.
So we had to buy another set of equipment to have there.
So you had plotters
at the
on
warehouse.
set.
Oh yeah, yeah. Everywhere we flew or wherever
Yeah.
we had plotters
You
on,
bring everything
on
with you.
set. And that's it was how the whole Modern Image was getting paid to do graphics. The first movie we lost our ass, because I didn't know. That was the first time.
Because
I
you
was
quoted something,
big.
and you're like,
I was like,
I don't know.
oh, it's the same thing, but it was going to be part of something new. For
Something that
me.
you're cool about, yeah.
And what it did for me, for the business and me personally, and even
Yeah,
to
it
this
was-
day, it's pretty awesome. Had I known going back, I would have done things way more differently and
But you
licensed a
learn.
bunch of stuff. But it didn't doesn't matter. But
No, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, so it was one time, and I worked all day over in Huntington, had a crew over in LA, and then I
God.
would leave Huntington, sometimes go home real quick, have a bite, say hi to
Yeah.
the kids and high five, and
Hi,
then
guys.
and then go over there. But I think it was getting close to where we were going to start filming. The green eclipse was there. We had did all the side graphics.
Yeah.
And the hood was just blank. The roof had that scoop on it, and we
Okay.
did a couple. But the hood was just left alone. And the art director came up and said, "Hey, that." Some of that stuff, and this is where the art director was, he didn't know cars, but
Yeah.
like, I see some of those cars and they have a hood, it's kind of black and it's kind of got like this, and he's like trying to explain carbon
Yeah.
fiber,
Okay.
And I said, oh, carbon fiber, like it's a weave. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's it. Can you, do you have that? I said, well, we can get carbon fiber hoods, but I don't know.
Yeah.
He's like, well, do you have material like that? I said, yeah, we have material. And, oh, can you put that on the hood? And so then we wrapped the hood, right?
With
And
carbon
he's like,
fiber.
okay, well, that's cool, but it's still kind of plain, And I never forget this day. I was wearing a hat. We Modern Image hat, and we always had our Modern Image
MI on
shirts
it.
and said the MI on it. And finishing up the hood, and he's looking. He's like, that logo that's on your hat. That's your guys, right? That's Modern Image. He's like, what do you think about that being on the hood? And it was like a cartoon, whatever. I just went.
Yeah. See ya.
It was probably
Here it
20
is.
minutes, but it felt like it was 2 seconds. It was back, and the MI logo was on the hood. And he's like, "That's perfect." And I never
that's a
knew how
huge
it's
logo.
huge. And had I known, I would have made it even bigger and stuff too. By then, we were already, because we were designing a lot of the graphics. Troy
Yeah.
Lee designed actually the Supra.
No
So
way.
different people that were involved in
That's
it. So we
awesome.
designed some in house. Troy did the Supra. He did the Supra, and I think Letty's. It was like a blue Integra. It had a small.
Awesome.
And then the studio did a couple things too.
Dang.
But we would always put our Modern Image sign works that written out like at the front of the side skirt and stuff.
That's
because
cool.
we were, kind of new. So almost every car had, our name on it in one way or another. But
it's amazing
to
that they
have
let you
that
do
on
that,
there.
especially back then. That's
Well, it's so much
incredible.
money if you think about what that could have been sold for. But also, too, they were trying to have some street cred.
That's cool, yeah, because
They were trying
people
to
saw
figure it out.
Modern Image
They
and they're like,
kinda
oh,
knew
yeah, cool.
we were in the magazines.
Fair enough.
Our little claim to fame was that, vehicles that we did, we had more covers of magazines than
Insane.
almost any company that was out there.
Yeah.
I mean, even some of the big, Dana, she was the marketing director over at Toyota back then. She would call me. He's like, Robert, I'm so mad at you. I'm like, oh man, were we late? Like, no, I just came out of a marketing meeting. We're spending all this money and stuff, and Modern Image is on more covers. We track all this stuff. Do you know? I'm like, no, but thanks for.
But that's awesome.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
letting me know. Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, because we cross different industries, whether it's
Of
import
course.
stuff,
That's true. Yeah.
car stuff, the truck stuff. Mountain bikes were huge for us, and nobody ever knew that we did mountain bikes. And my partner that we started together with, we were just 1 year. We split on a really good split. We bought a whole nother set of equipment, and he kept all the mountain bike stuff, and I kept all the car stuff.
Oh, cool.
And so he has his business called Stickman Vinyl Graphics.
Nice.
He's based out of Corona.
He's still doing it?
Kind of over by Gibson.
Really?
Yeah, and his main thing is he does ambulances.
Wow, that's
now.
cool,
But
though.
yeah, I just got together with him maybe 3
What's
weeks
his name?
ago. Daryl Sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
But
That's cool.
yeah, so it's cool to see him.
That's
yeah, he's still
rad.
doing it,
And
though.
everything.
Heck
But
yeah.
yeah, so the Fast and the Furious. So then so we were in it, and it was just, again, all of that, the business, again, just kind of think about, in the heydays of Gibson, all this stuff is just all this cool stuff. In the meantime, I'm still trying to find somebody that, you read every book and all these things and go all these seminars on business and all that kind of stuff. And, find somebody to run your business. All that. It all sounds great, right? But I was really trying to find somebody that could alleviate some of the stress from me, so I didn't have to be the front guy
Running the
all
business,
the time.
yeah.
And it was just hard. I couldn't find anybody to even be,
Well,
half.
they don't have that passion.
It wasn't. Yeah, it was
It's not
passion.
their business.
And probably back then, fair enough too. We probably didn't have budget.
True.
Probably what
To
I
hire
was
somebody.
offering.
Oh,
yeah.
Like, hey,
Wasn't
dude,
enough.
you
Run
get-
the whole
you-
business.
You get free stickers, and we buy free pizza once a week. And you whatever. You might be able to live in an apartment. Come on,
maybe.
what do you mean?
If you do a great job, we'll be able to afford medical insurance.
Come on.
Yeah. Well, if
My
you
wife's a dental
sell,
hygienist. She'll clean your teeth once a that'll be on
We
the
got
bonus.
you, dude.
That's only if you do really good.
exactly.
That's your bonus.
That's your bonus. You better sell some jobs in. Better make me lots of money.
But yes, and then the Fast and the Furious really, it was kind of the beginning of the end of the import scene, right?
Okay, yeah.
Again, if we kind of go back to talking about the drag racing stuff,
Yeah.
that exposing. Again, for me personally, it did really well because it brought a lot of money into the business,
that's
and
great.
made the business bigger on a worldwide. In the United States, we were very well known. We shipped graphics and stickers all across the
Wow,
country.
man.
Our mail order side of the business was
That's
what was
amazing.
jamming. But again, because all the trends were set here,
Yeah.
all
course.
the magazine stuff and the cars being built here, it still required us to do all the installs.
Oh, okay.
Not only come up with the concepts and the ideas,
course.
and that that's just one time, right? You think about the shot that you want, right? Just that money shot,
Yep.
freaking the golden hour, and you take it, right? And then you're gonna sell that print. You just do that one time. You just sell the print, right?
Yeah.
And that's it. For us, we came up with that graphic, but then a lot of people wanted it, and not too many people knew how to put them on.
Of course not. Yeah, to install that. I mean,
And so then we had to install. So we would make some money on producing the graphic, and we would lose a bunch of money installing it.
really?
Oh yeah, I mean, first of
It
all,
just
you
took
had
too
to,
long and
first of
not
all, you
make
had
it-
to find employees that would do it,
Yeah,
and that were
that
capable
could do
of
it,
doing
yeah.
it. And then typically when they could do it, then they either go off on their own,
And do it.
or they
Yeah.
would want more money,
Of course.
or whatever it is, and then you give a raise, and then 2 weeks later they want more. It's just like fabricators,
Yeah.
all
Yeah,
that kind of
same
stuff.
thing,
It's
yeah.
really hard to do
Keep
it.
'em
So,
in.
looking back, if I didn't have to do the installs, same thing, I'd probably still be in.
Crazy. Just
Still
making
being
stickers. And,
very
yeah,
I was going to
selling
ask if you were
it.
to go back and do it all over again, what would you do?
And we didn't have social media,
Yeah.
Yeah, today, if I didn't have to have employees, or maybe one, and everything was COD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
No terms.
Yes. Thank you.
No terms. And part of that was the clients that you're dealing with, the other part of it was really me just lagging on billing.
It was hard because you're so busy.
So busy.
I know.
To then stop, and I despised it. Luckily, again, that's why. Thank God,
Peggy was there.
I had Peggy to do all that kind of stuff. But it would be like months, and then you know how it is, especially if it's a corporate client, and you try and give them a bill 3 or 4 months down the road.
Oh, it's too late.
It's too late.
Yeah,
that budget's already been shut
down.
Gone. That project, and like, well, no.
You're talking about me?
No, that's it though. I mean, it's so tough, dude.
Yeah,
it sucks. Own your own company, man. Gotta love it.
Yeah,
that's
right. There's pros and cons. Everybody think own your own company. It's like, oh my God, you're just sitting outside drinking margaritas and some things like.
There are pros and cons.
Sometimes yes, but I just finished working 48 hours straight.
Exactly.
That's why I'm outside.
40 hours straight for 3 weeks straight.
Yeah. It's crazy. And SEMA time, and so Hollywood, and then SEMA. Those were the craziest times in my life.
Yeah.
And
still are
most of that time. Yeah.
What do you think happened to the import market? Do you think is it still around?
It's
is it going to come back?
There's still a segment of it. I mean, it's because
there were so many awesome, iconic brands that came from the import market that just never went anywhere else. They couldn't diversify because it was such a unique vibe, and there was a personality attached to it.
Oh, yeah. And same thing. You kind of had to be in it. When Fast and Furious came out, it was more the core industry that was in it, and then when that movie came out, you really got to see all the brands, even the U.S. brands, hop into the game.
So crazy, yeah.
And then again, it was kind of the death of it.
Yeah.
It just got so diluted. And all the companies that I love, because I'm a muscle car guy, I'm a truck guy and stuff, but they had no place being in the import scene.
Yeah.
But how could you look past it, right? If you're a parts manufacturer, just distributor, and you see this part of this industry, and it's just everything's being talked about, then you start to pivot and you shift in it.
I think the next ones that we saw, like the next import industries that we saw, was like the Jeep.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, there was always an off-road Jeep market, but that JK just changed it because it brought
the whole thing.
everybody else in.
Yeah.
And then now Power Sports. Blowing up. I mean, I remember 2006 trying to convince everybody this is going to be the next greatest thing. Get in. They're like, "You're stupid." I'm like,
"These are golf carts."
I remember my golf cart. I remember my first long travel Rhino.
Oh yeah, dude.
Some of the most fun we ever had in toys.
Oh, dude, that thing was rad.
There's so much
another
fun.
Little single cylinder, and that's how I ended up meeting the Wellers.
That's awesome.
Too.
Yeah,
blew up the motor and
so
met
crazy.
Corey, and then got to get exposed to the SR1s.
Yeah,
I was just a huge sport bike kind of guy, so to hear that motor. And
who was the guy that was building those trucks with the rotaries in it that had the little series that was going on?
It was Superlight.
Superlight.
Yeah,
Superlight.
John Hera.
Yeah.
It was huge for the. I was just talking about that the other day because it brought so many people into the sport because you can arrive and drive.
Yep.
And you could get hooked, right? I mean, I think anybody, again, kind of go back to that short course thing. I think anybody that did that.
It was perfect.
Man, it's just
all of them started racing.
So exhilarating.
Yeah.
Trust me, man, I love the desert and I love, all that kind of stuff. But, especially, 500 is getting ready to come up right now, and you're going to start right here and you're going to go down. Maybe you're going to do a loop and come back.
Yeah.
But people, they're not going to see you.
You can't watch you racing
and if you break or whatever.
then you're out.
This was kind of like Supercross with MMA and monster truck all kind of mixed into one. Yeah, and if you broke down, you just, the truck came in, and it was
Took you out.
I've always
wanted to race off-road, but I just don't know if I have enough friends to go do it because you need a massive crew.
Such a volunteer-based thing, especially if you're going down the bottom. Yeah. You
It's
think
insane.
about, like, even like the 1,000 that's going to be coming up, and they're going to run it backwards. So now you have to go
down and come back.
And then come back up.
So insane.
And then, the bummer part is, again, 4 miles in or 400 miles in, you break that train.
Either way, you got to come all the way back.
And you're
Yep.
so suck.
It sucks.
All those people and how much money that is. All those hotels, all day. Even if they're volunteering, you still got to
either way.
have
It's still
some
the gas,
place maybe
still
for them
logistics.
to sleep.
And at
some
any
PMX
moment, I'm
money
sure us and everybody listening, if we're given the opportunity, would take
right
it.
there.
we'd do it.
Yeah. Some of my best times is going down there, and I've been down there with organized teams, and it's cool. And I've been down there with like the most
disorganized teams.
And it's almost even funner once you got past the it's just so dysfunctional and out of control.
Because whatever's happening is happening.
The memories and the stories that are there, and then we do some like around Baja and stuff. We'll go and take the trucks down there, and we'll just do our own little camping. We go and we camp, and we have a truck.
That's
and
rad.
I have a tent on the ground, not on my truck, but.
Oh.
Yeah, you know.
Oh my god!
That was like my biggest come
I'm
up.
old school, dude.
My biggest come up when I was younger, we were like, tent camping out in like the dunes, the desert. It was like a truck tent. They made a tent to go in the truck bed.
Inside the tent.
And I was like, this is amazing. Best thing ever. Because then like the sun, you had like an extra hour before the sun started heating up the tent.
It didn't matter what the sand was.
Yeah.
Now we're like so prima donna.
awesome.
Now I roll up and, see people where we were at. We were just at Stagecoach, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was
seen you
there.
at Stagecoach. But, I'm glamping in my fifth
course.
wheel and all, and rolling and see that sea of tents, right? Tent City.
It was so hot, too.
so hot. Dude, it was
miserable.
105.
Yep.
Well, and then they had the area where they were like doing the car camping too, and these you go and roll through there, and like and these poor people.
Dust. But you kind of think about the Glamis,
That's what
when
it
I
was.
first
Brings
started
back-
going to Glamis.
Yeah.
I was the same way, man.
Yeah.
I didn't even have a tent then.
At least it wasn't as hot though,
Yeah.
because it's usually wintertime and
I mean, there was times we were in
you'd be
Havasu,
freezing.
and I'm sleeping under the boat on 4th of July because it was hot as hell and Crazy Horse on the seat cushions, because it's so damn hot. But like the thing
Miserable.
is the weather or the conditions was never a concern or even a thought.
Yeah.
Your only concern was,
Yes.
I'm going to get there.
I'm going to get there and
you're
I'm going
gonna
to
go on
partake during the day.
Yeah.
And then you forget about the night's going to suck.
Exactly, whatever.
You just got to make the day that good.
that fun.
So you.
And
I
we
agree.
did make it so good with just the little, with nothing.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
And now we, sometimes we have the opportunity to have so much more, and we overcomplicate as we get older. Like, why? I
do.
go,
It's too much.
Why did I
It's
become
too
so
much.
old? Why am I like? When we go to Stagecoach, I love going there. And before we even left, I was already worried about how I was going to feel on Monday and the week after.
This-
the cleanup.
same.
I'm like, I must be just getting too old for this.
The
If I'm
cleanup-
thinking that far ahead.
You have like nice cush bed. And
Oh, we had a great
I
motorhome.
can't believe I'm going to have to clean this thing on Monday.
It's so much work.
Exactly.
The person in the tent's like, this is rad.
Yeah,
I can't
exactly.
believe
Living
it's the
life.
best time of my whole entire
Yep.
life.
Yeah, and they just toss the tent away when you're done.
Yeah, they would just leave it there. Don't care.
Yep.
Oh man, it was good times, dude.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Okay, so quick question on Fast and Furious. Do you know, did Sparko sponsor the movie? Because I feel like every scene has Sparko in it.
Yeah, I mean, they're friends of ours and they're
Yeah.
a client of ours, so
Yeah.
we run their social media and Impact too. And they were just, again, another brand that was in there.
Just part
So
of it.
They supplied the product.
That's cool, yeah.
There wasn't a check
Nice,
cut
okay.
for it. Even James
That's awesome,
Chen
though.
at the very, he owned Access Wheels.
Yeah.
And, I still remember walking into the warehouse and just from floor
Jeez,
to
dude.
ceiling, nitrous bottles, right? Floor to ceiling,
Nice,
wheels
nice.
and tires. Seats and belts. I mean, just body kits.
Supplied
And-
all that.
And again, I thought we were like, oh man, we're cool. We got a set of wheels, right?
Yeah.
We're building this car. Like, oh man,
Yeah.
we're sponsored.
No,
we're
they got-
rad. And I walk in this warehouse and they're like, oh man, this is next level.
Yeah,
right
this
there,
is
dude.
really next
they-
level.
And that's a massive investment into a unknown process
sure.
too.
Yeah, you don't know
even
if it's-
though if it's just product,
You don't know if it's gonna work.
From the business standpoint, it's always easier to provide product
Oh,
than it
always,
is just
yeah.
like write a check.
check, yeah.
Even though in the end, it
Cash.
probably would have been easier just to write a check than it would be anything
Supply all
else.
product, yeah.
But that's rad that it all
That
started
is so
that way.
cool.
Yeah, I mean, and you can't turn on normal cable if you still have, or just even normal TV, and not one of the Fast and the Furious
It's on all day, every day.
Being in there and have that that branding in there.
It is great.
And again, we were just super fortunate to kind of be a part of that, to really become good friends with Paul.
Yeah.
Paul, eventually was renting out half of Modern Image.
Really?
He was, very instrumental in Rico purchasing Modern Image.
That's crazy.
And miss him every day. Miss him coming over to the house and and seeing him. And
That's so
first time
crazy.
he seen a twin turbo long travel car in the garage,
Yeah.
and he just tripped out because
What is this?
He was the most Hollywood guy.
Really?
He's just a Huntington Beach surfer guy. Santa
awesome,
Barbara.
man.
He's
Yeah.
a real estate guy too.
Wow.
So it was really cool. So it's
rad.
opened up friendships and learned so much and industry growth. And so
Yeah.
I owe a huge amount, and I miss it.
Yeah.
I think we signed the contract for 3, and then I exited, and Enrico took it over. I think that was Tokyo Drift. So Vic and Mike, and they flew to Tokyo, and I was kind of like, oh man, I want to go to Tokyo, and then I think Vic, ever since that third movie has been involved, and I still talk to Dennis all the time from Vehicle Effects, who still builds since the third movie. He's built all the cars.
Insane.
He's in Burbank.
He's really cool.
Autotopia.
Yeah, he's a really cool dude.
Actually gonna go. We'll see him on Saturday.
Nice.
We'll bring John down to Autotopia and stuff like that too. So. And same thing. He's short course.
Yeah, he's got Pro 2s.
He's got Pro 2s. His son, and
so rad.
From not coming from off road, and then kind of getting involved in the off road, it's crazy how many different industries off road touches.
Yeah,
and
it's so integrated.
And that's kind of the point of this podcast too. It's not so much just to talk about off road, but to talk about like the industries that feed it, that provide it, because this is
all mismatched.
It's more of a passion,
Yeah.
but there's so much industry behind it that drives it and allows this to be a passion.
Yeah. I mean, I think again, that the mini trucks and the import scene really, pushed my career into that side. And then, when I transitioned into Magnaflow and Lucas Oil, really that's when off road became, really ingrained into me and really helped that next step, and where we are today, but still never forgetting where we came from and
where it all
be able
started.
to tell those stories and give props to, the majority, all those guys are still in. I still talk to them every once. That's where SEMA is just so fun, right? And it's such a pain in the ass. It's so hard to get there, especially if you have a booth, you're building vehicles. But once you get there and that first day opens and you just get to see the industry, it's so cool because a lot of times you only get to see those people, that one time a year, and then kind of see their new stuff or see their projects and see their booths. And, luckily with Modern Image, we only had a booth one year out of all of that. Our stuff was always leading.
It was on everyone else's though.
Yeah, we did. Starting in September, it started to ramp for us, and I always remember every year our accountant would go, "What happens?
You're making all your money
in October because all of we sponsored so much stuff. Like almost 90% of your write-offs are in that month. Like, it's a SEMA show thing. And, really we'd start in September and then we'd start working longer hours and longer hours and longer hours. And then it got to the point where we tell the story that, we had 5,000 square foot in Huntington Beach.
Yeah.
We literally could not close the doors. We could not, somebody always had to be
so
there.
many cars in there.
There's too many cars. Or it took too long to try and Tetris them all in there.
Might as well just...
And as the days, when you start talking about the last couple days, I mean, tow trucks would show up sometimes at 1:00 at night because people knew that we were there. We didn't know.
It didn't matter. You're still...
and they, tow truck driver would drop it off and said, "Oh, the owner said he'll talk to you guys in the morning."
And my gosh!
No more.
Stop sitting in your cars.
Stop.
We did not have
But again,
room.
we did everything we could.
But you still did it.
We still.
Do you work 2 shifts at that point, or you guys just work 24 hours a day?
No, I mean the longest I ever stayed up was like 4 days straight, kind of leaning up into it. And I thought like, oh man, 4 days straight. I would like, so there's this guy Sean Carlson. Love you, Sean.
Yeah.
I don't want to get too sentimental, but that guy, anytime I would say like, oh yeah, I was up for 4 days, he'd like laugh at me. That guy, like 7 days, I don't know. He was superhuman. And
That's
stuff.
insane.
And everything that he did,
Yeah.
he was superhuman and stuff. But yeah.
Well, you just don't stop until the job's done.
Yeah. And same thing, if you know what you're somewhat liking what you're doing, right? Because you're in the heart of it, you're doing, everything's custom. It's not the same thing, especially on the SEMA vehicles, and it's the best of the best. And that's why we couldn't leave, right? I mean, you have fresh paint jobs and the best of course, sitting out, had
Insane.
some hoodlums know what was going on, man.
Like come over and jack stuff
Yeah, because we were inside. We didn't know what we were doing. Like,
everything was sitting out there.
Set of one-off wheels right there. We got that, Alpine pull-out.
Dude, that flip outs, man. The best.
What is your opinion on the SEMA builds and the feature vehicles and everything nowadays versus where we were?
Well, it's kind of like me going to a car show and stuff, and maybe I just a little bit too much prima donna now, just because there's very few things that stand out, and there's always different trends, and there always was trends, right? And I don't necessarily agree with them, but the one thing I agree with is that it's something custom, and somebody put their heart and soul into it.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's not my place to say, dude, that's
wrong. Or that's dumb.
I'd say a word, but we might get in trouble. But yeah, I mean, like even the lowrider scene when we were in the mini truck scene, it was never appealed to me, like those paint jobs and the Daytons and stuff like that. It was never. But man, those dudes did way more work than me. Dude, I just chopped them to suspension. I rattle canned.
No, they are gnarly. Yeah,
my bucket list item is a lowrider on Dayton's. It's full blown
gnarly
out.
what they do, but again, that like as I started to see that, and subconsciously that stays in your mind, right? And like seeing a chromed engine block,
insane.
The first thing comes to mind, like, dude, this guy's it's gonna flake, it's gonna discolor, but homie, chrome plated. He took the block apart.
Yeah.
He polished it smooth.
Yeah.
And then chrome plated it.
It's insane. It's
and
so
then
much work.
And then engraved the whole thing too.
Yeah, they engraved all the too.
Just think about just the, so man, props to them. I mean, there's some of the truck stuff that's been going on at SEMA for like 10 years now.
The Bluetooth drive shafts.
But again.
The problem is it's one color and chrome. And there's not much creativity going on. A lot of it's bolt on now. Not a lot of people are having the passion. But one like trend I really liked was like the rat rod stuff. And I wasn't like, I mean, maybe not my jam or stuff. Sure. But you could appreciate someone taking something and repurposing it for something else and customizing it, and like the whole thing coming together was rad. It gave me a lot of like vibes from like the lowrider stuff of just the time and effort put into it and just being full custom.
Well, and you could take 10 rat rods, right? And you could, let's just say 7 of them were true, just low budge rat rods, right? And then there was 3 other ones that were in there that were like built by the Roadster shop, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
insane.
So that's why I kind of like seeing some of the ingenuity and the ideas. And I have this 49 Chevy truck that I got from my stepmom that passed away. I inherited, and it's original patina. I've never had to try so hard in my life to make new parts look old.
Right.
Like
to make it match.
New wheels, 20-inch wheels. I had the patina. It was I've had like one-off wheels that we drawn and CNC'd and forged and everything. And thank God I have Kelly from Specialized Coatings on my side. For the last 25 years, that guy's done everything for me. But that's, sometimes like trying to make that rat rod
to make it look old.
Yeah. And especially with some modern technology.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. Yeah. I think, in today's SEMA world now, it's really just about some of those higher end pro touring builds that I, appreciate. Again, it's like never going to be, I won't say never. It's going to be hard for it to be in my budget,
Yeah.
I know they're spending. Man, some of the work, that goes into those, the chassis, the engines. And again, those are the things where I'll just dork out, dude. And I'll just, I have a fast walk that I usually walk around SEMA, because you're always just trying to cram, too much stuff in, but I'll always see stuff and I know that I need to make my way back around it. And sometimes I'll sneak in early and just go and
just admire it.
Dork out on that stuff.
I love that stuff.
And
I think there are
mental notes on cool stuff.
Every year there's those 20 cars in there that are just insane. I mean, there's the other 1,000 are just like whatever, but there are those 10 or 20 cars that are just like, wow.
Well, I guess maybe that's how it always was too.
I think it always is and stuff. And same thing, I love the first SEMA vehicle. I had a Civic Coupe 96 was the first year I had a car in SEMA. And it was, looking back, it was halfway rigged and whatever, Prelude swap turbo, so it was kind of cool. But I like seeing that stuff too. I like seeing the stuff that you could tell maybe it's the guy's early on in his customizing career,
just starting out.
And it's not quite as sharpened. Dude, my mini truck, like I said, I mean, I built dashes I live in a single wide mobile home, dude. I'm proud of it, dude. I built my dash and I had fish tanks and VCRs, all that. I look back now, it's
awesome.
Like such a hack.
Hey, you made it though. You did it.
But it's cool to kind of see that and then see
the fish tank,
everywhere else, and no matter what, again, whether you like these some of these trucks or other stuff, to them you got to just remember, like, it's their heart and soul. into that. And sometimes hard,
Everything.
right? You know, and sometimes just because I'm here today because I'm just a custom car guy, and that's
what
I
brought
want to
you
do
here,
custom car stuff, you know. So sometimes when people are walking with me, sometimes and they're not in, and they'll out loud say something about a vehicle, it's like I have to stop them, because I just don't want to be. First of all, I don't want to be that guy, and sometimes I do say it, man, it would just really suck, like if I said that or somebody said it, and that guy
hears it, that sucks.
Because to him, dude, that's the world, and he may or may not know that he cut corners or did something. And again, like I said, different tastes for everything.
Maybe it's just out of his reach, and someone,
Yep,
dude, the cars I build today, there's no way I'd be able to. I never even had it in my mindset because again, it's however many years, 28 years or something, of going to SEMA and all these different car shows and all those times of dorking out on different things and different inspirations coming about that has got me to where I am.
That's cool.
Today, I could, when I was 15, I didn't know that. I didn't know chrome blocks existed. Yeah, I knew that Krylon had, spray paint.
Yeah, you can spray paint it.
Spray paint my lowering blocks and U-bolts that were hanging down below.
Of course.
And I'm like, dude,
exactly.
my undercarriage is
sick.
painted.
Yeah.
It's sick, bro.
That's for, you'd always be getting at the shows for points with making sure the windows are open, the doors are open.
Dude,
I see everything.
I have my cotton around my tires.
Yeah,
and
that's
my
awesome,
gas can.
dude.
I do miss the displays.
The displays are sick.
Well, you
put all the
jack
mirrors
the seat.
underneath.
Yes.
Yeah, and you'd always jack it up and make sure that the valve sims were the same and everything.
That was another thing too. Like even Sean, taught me is you just always have to have the wheel with the valve stem cap, and it's
all
like,
perfect.
It's so bad.
Toyo
it's like my
on
kid,
top.
my kid the other day was like, hey dad, on the Raptor, the caps aren't right, and I said, I know the wheel shop. I told them and they didn't do. I just haven't had a chance
to fix them.
But he left and I didn't. I just said, yeah, I know. And afterwards, I was like. My heart melted. I was like,
because that's me.
My kid just we're just dogging on me right now. But dude, he realized my caps were going
That's
wrong.
awesome.
You just respond. It's from doing burnout, son.
Yeah.
Drifting.
Yeah, exactly. But the one logo's this way and the cap's this way and the valve stem's over here.
All off.
Yeah.
Damn it.
It's a sickness sometimes.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a sickness. It's a good sickness, though. It's a good sickness.
Well, cool,
I love it, dude. This has been amazing, man.
Yeah. Good times, man. Thank you so much.
Oh, man. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for sharing your story.
Great to catch up.
And it's great seeing. Congrats, on the new business venture. I'm stoked to hear how that goes. And
me too.
We're in Lambo's little studio in here and kind of just been awesome again. Like to see him flourish and, from that younger guy, filming to now seeing him do stuff for
he's badass.
Chevy and just he's badass. I can't afford him anymore, but dang
Shut
it,
up.
It's like, look at I think he shot every car of mine for nothing.
He's a little expensive.
It's a good friendship.
He doesn't
all
have a
right?
studio anymore.
I know.
I know.
Damn it. There's a studio right here, though, so if you do have anything shot, we can shoot
So
it.
the Lambo Leroy
That's
show is
rad.
going to have a new sponsor. It's Boxo USA.
They're already a sponsor.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, and thank you, Boxo. Actually, I'm supposed to be at the office right now. It's
thanks for letting
me out and be able to talk. And
Yes,
again,
awesome.
that's what this is all about, right? I mean,
It
at
is.
the end of the day, I don't think any of us get paid enough to do what we do, but we love what we're doing, and
Yes.
so. Even when we were at,
It's all about
you were at
networking.
Desert Storm, I was at Desert Storm. We're sitting out there, standing on the asphalt,
it's miserable all day,
day
exhausted.
long. And it kind of goes back to that, when you came in, or say I'm at Glamis, right? We're at Desert Storm.
Exactly.
We should be on a boat.
Yes.
And you have all these people. They're all in their board shorts and flip flops.
Yep.
And they're just either
They're
coming
drinking
off
beers.
of the boat,
Yep.
or getting ready to go on the boat, and they're drinking beers. And I'm like, I cannot believe I'm standing
Working this
doing
dang
this.
thing.
And at this point in my life, I can't believe I'm still doing this. But again,
No, yeah,
it's
he
part of the
had
whole
the great
thing.
ideas. He's like, Sean, give us your a booth next year at Desert Storm. I'm like, no,
I'm going to drink beers.
no, I want to enjoy the show.
Yeah.
That's I want to go there.
You know
I'm
what's
a
better
fan
is
of it.
pull up with your boat with a big ass sticker on
Exactly.
it.
That's all you need.
Yeah, so-
Yep. That's all you need. I did talk to
or
them.
have somebody pull your boat, have it on the
Exactly.
street there.
There we
You
go.
don't have to be
Yeah, it's
there.
easy.
You can walk up with your beer, talk about it every once in a while,
And
and
then
then
leave.
make them go launch it. And
Yep.
then you go hop on it and stuff.
Exactly.
Too, so
That's
I'm pumped. I got to hang out on Lambo's boat during that time and see him kind of progress in his
a good time.
in his boating.
Yep.
You know, kind of see him go from the mini truck. Now he's in the full
now
size truck.
full size. Yeah,
you know, he kind of went from the from the Datsun. Now he's in that Chevy extra cab.
And you have
so now,
to go those steps.
You do.
So now,
that's the only way to get up there.
The next thing now he'll have a Super Duty next, which will be the I don't know what the next boat is.
Mach 26.
Yeah.
And yep, exactly.
There you go.
Just keep going my ranks. So it's getting there.
That'd be rad.
Awesome. Guys, go follow Boxo. Go follow. Do you want me to shout out the Round 2 Instagram?
Yeah, Boxo USA Direct on social and Round 2 Designs. And appreciate all the support and just love being part of this.
This is amazing, man. Well, awesome, guys. Thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate it. And we'll listen to us on the next one. See us on the next one.
See you again.
Yep. Later, guys.
Whoa! Who knew I would make it this far? They hated, they never believe me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball. I know I make it look easy. Yeah, Mayweather with the defense. I don't care what a critic got to say. I got them picking up the pieces.